Hey everybody, Kelly Engineer here. Welcome to episode 38 of Ragnamod 5. In between episodes, all I was really doing is filling up some drives. And yeah, I've managed to get quite a few of the blocks and pretty much all of the ores that I've unlocked so far into the second floor over here. The blank spaces right by my head are for all of the environmental tech stuff, which I have not unlocked yet. And then these two by my arm, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing with those. But yeah, that is pretty much what I've been doing. I also, as you can see over here, is some of my drives have already filled up. These are the dies. And ever since the dies have filled up that 16K Emmy Drive, I'm experiencing a little bit of lag. You could just see right there from where I clicked to when I teleported. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So I think it's time to actually run some lag goggle stuff and get rid of the stuff that's causing me to lag out, or at least that response lag, you know. Before I do that, though, I want to actually put out a call to arms. I want to put out a request. I plan on starting to stream at or around the September time frame. I'm moving to a brand new state, gonna move into a brand new place, and I won't be burdened by somebody else's internet. I'm living in a basement right now. It's unfortunate, but you know, life throws crazy stuff at you. So I'm in a basement right now, and burdened by somebody else's internet. I'm burdening them. And yeah, so when I move to a new place, I will have brand new internet and be able to set up a decent recording studio. Because I want to live stream, I know nothing about Twitch, so I'm going to need like a Twitch interface or a YouTube interface. Something designed, but I'm rubbish with Photoshop. So if anybody has any experience, I would like to commission you to make an interface for Twitch or YouTube so I can actually stream and have something personalized. I thought about just buying one outright, but that's not personal. That's not very personal at all. So but yeah, if you have any experience, absolutely contact me, and I would love to commission you. Yeah, without further ado, let's get to it. So the first thing that I want to do in this episode is I actually want to figure out where I'm lagging out the most, or what's causing the most amount of response lag for me. So I'm going to run lag goggles, and for those of you who are not familiar with lag goggles, it's just an add-on you can throw into your pack. By default, in order to activate it, it's insert. Yeah, it's insert, but I have it keybound to numpad 4. But I'm just going to profile this for about 30 seconds, see where the bulk of my lag is going. And yeah, we're gonna troubleshoot and see what's around that area. All right, that was quick, and when I say quick, I mean it wasn't quick at all. So up here, I'm just looking at which chunks have the worst of it. Actually, you know what? My my ME drives are actually not contributing as much as I thought. Alright, so that's not bad. It actually doesn't look like it's contributing anything. It doesn't say that it's contributing anything at all. That's what I thought would be the big thing for me, was the ME drives being full, but that is not the case. It looks like the bulk of it are my ender chests right here. So the ender chests right now aren't really doing anything, but because there's so many operations happening in this chunk via the item conduits, that's causing quite a bit of problems in that chunk. My entire factory, yeah, my entire factory is causing problems, and what are those? Alright, why is my sag mill? The sag mill's causing problem even though no operation's running, so whatever. But it seems like the big thing in here is, let's hide the results. What? Oh, okay. So it's the smart output from Tinker.io is red on every single one of these. Okay, so that's a problem. May have to get rid of the Tinker.io stuff. I'm going to be moving all of these sag mills this episode anyway, so I don't think that's going to be much of a problem right now. All of my chickens, and I'm sorry if this is garbage to look at, I assume it is, but all of my chickens seem to be fine. But because it's so much happening in one chunk at a time, all of the chunks in the big chicken barn are red. Ugh. Armor stands. Alright, that's all well and good. What is my highest thing that's causing me lag? Analyze results. Myself. I am the thing that's causing the most lag. What? Alright, so I need to figure out what the heck that's all about. I wonder. Alright, I'm sorry. I know that this is boring, but it's pretty fascinating to me. I just took off all of my armor, and I am now generating... Everything is generating more lag. What the heck? All of my armor stands. Myself. What the heck is this? I'm gonna go delete these armor stands. Oh, that sucks. Did I mention I took off all of my armor? Yeah, I have gone through the world, run in the lag goggles multiple times, removed my smart outputs, removed my auto hammer that I had going on for the end stone. But the only thing that I haven't removed, one of the big things, are all of my E-Tech stuff. And I really don't want to remove those because those are absolutely necessary to the next thing I had planned. Yeah, I'm very quickly reaching the point where I either have to start dismantling whole builds, or let's turn off the chunks. Yeah, I either have to start dismantling whole builds or abandon the world. And that's a really tough choice to make, especially since I'm not even halfway done with this pack. Yeah, even looking at the moon, it is it's freaking out. Ugh, what a dilemma. So after going through all of this stuff, I've come to the conclusion that it is indeed my Emmy Drive. So I'm going to have to restructure how I'm doing this. Having one item per 16K Emmy Drive is, yeah, it's not a good idea. And honestly, that's common sense. It was never a good idea. I just figured I'd try something new. What I've done is I've actually taken out every single one of the dies, because a couple of them were completely filled. So all of the dies are out of the Emmy drives over here. Oh, and I have another full one. What is that? It is quartz. Okay, so nether quartz is completely filled right now as well. So yeah, I am going to have to restructure how all of this works. In order to do that, 16K is not going to be enough. I'm going to have to upgrade all to 64K, but that's for another time. Even though I've eliminated quite a few things, I've torn down all of my environmental tech stuff. There was a sag mill over here that was always causing problems every single run that I took with lag goggles, so I removed that. And yeah, the only thing that I really have that's bad for the server right now is me. But that being the case, I still want to complete this episode, but I'm afraid this is going to have to be the last episode of Ragnamod 5 for a while until I restructure all of those drives. I'm going to have to get a lot of Certus quartz if I'm going to make 64K drives. But in any case, I do want to go over interfaces. That was the goal of this episode. That's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to grab my Emmy Cyan Smart cable over here, and I have two different types of interfaces. I have the flat interface and the block interface. Both of them are exactly the same. It's just a matter of what aesthetic you want to go for. So the block, in order to turn it into a flat, just put it into a crafting grid, and the flat turning back into a block, same thing. Yeah, I have 16 of those. We're going to go back over here and hook them into the ME system. So using the blocks, obviously, you're not going to have to use as much cable in order to do that. So I have the block hooked up here, but if I wanted to use the flat, you see that it's not going to connect. I'm going to have to use an extra piece of cable, and I'm also going to wait for it to actually connect to the ME system. It may take a while. There we go. Alright, so this is using one of the channels. It is indeed hooked up. Now, these advanced inscribers and the regular inscribers themselves, they actually don't need a full connection. So if I attach an interface here, here, and here, see, it's not going to update. It's still only going to be one channel. However, if I use the flats, you see it's going to use 4 channels once it updates. There we go. So I don't have to use as much cable connecting these flats over here. Dupe and dupe. Oh man, this is slow going. This is going to be a very infuriating episode to make. But yeah, so I have all of these connected now, and I'm using the 4 channels. I have more than enough channels on this dense Emmy smart cable that I don't really have to worry about it. But yeah, that is the difference between the interfaces, is you can actually link the channels through the blocks themselves, whereas you actually have to use cables in order to do that for the flats. And now we should actually make some patterns for those interfaces. So let's open this up, get rid of that. And in order to make patterns for the inscribers, you're going to have to click over here where it says crafting pattern, click it, and it becomes a processing pattern. And the processing patterns are specific to things that you won't make on a crafting grid. So if a machine has a specific interface, then you can imitate that interface on the pattern terminal. So for instance, if I wanted to make, here we go, if I wanted to make a printed logic circuit, then I know that I'm going to need an inscriber logic press and a gold ingot. And what I'm going to get, here we go, is a printed logic circuit. Now these things are very literal because it's not something that's in a crafting grid. The only way that it can know what it wants to make is what you tell it to make. So for instance, if I am making an inscriber logic press, you know what, it's better to just show it. So I'm going to create this right now, and I'm going to throw it into my inscriber. Alright, here we are. So I'm going to throw in the inscriber logic press, lock it so that it will never leave, and then put that pattern that I just made right here. So it knows that it wants to create that, use it, create a printed logic circuit using an inscriber logic press and a gold ingot. So let's head back over to the storage and try to craft one. Whoa. There we go. So I'm going to craft printed logic circuit. Let's make 10 of them. So see that it's missing 10 inscriber logic presses in order to do that. That is a problem. So how do we solve that problem? The way that I am going to solve this is I'm going to unlock the presses from the inscribers. And whenever they're unlocked, that means that these can be removed by the automation process. The only problem with removing them is it needs a spot to put into the ME system. So because I don't have a drive set up for all of these presses, there's nothing to remove. Well, it can remove them, but it has no place to put it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my recipe so that I have one of the outputs of my recipe with the press that I want. So I'm going to create that again. And I've also created another copy using iron blocks of each of my presses. And those are the ones that are going to be in the ME system to begin with. So let's reinstall. Let's reinstall this and see what we can do with it. And here we go. I've set everything up. Now, you'll see that I have an inscriber logic press here in my craft panel. And that's because when I set up the recipe earlier for my printed logic circuit, I made one of the outputs for it, the inscriber logic press, which means if I ever want to craft my printed logic circuit, and once again I'm going to try to craft 10 of them, you see that I have one available in the system, and it wants to craft 10 of them. That won't actually be necessary. What it's going to do is it's going to recognize that the inscriber logic press is an output of making a printed logic circuit, and it's just going to cycle back through the system in order to create it. Now this is not the full solution right now, and I probably should have looked at how many printed. Alright, cool. So this is not going to work right off the bat, and I'm going to explain why in just a second. You see that it is crafting one of them, scheduling 9 of the inscriber logic presses, and same with the printed logic circuits, but that's fine. It's stuck in the system. And here is the system. The printed logic circuit has been made, and it recognizes the inscriber logic press that it pulled from the inventory is there. However, how is this going to get back into the system? The interface will only insert items into your inscriber. You still need to provide a way to export the item that you have created from your inscribers, or whatever machine that you decide to use. So I need to set up export buses on each of these inscribers in order to get the system to fully work. And here we are. This is my solution. I've removed all of the other advanced inscribers, and I just have one for each process. One for the printed parts, and then 3 for the processors. And this is working out perfectly. I have my import buses over here at the top, and it is being powered by an Emmy smart cable. Remember, if it is if it's one of these little panel things right here, then it cannot supply power. So you're going to have to supply power somehow via a standard cable. Now that that is all set up, everything is all ready to run. I've changed the patterns as well right here, and I will show you what I've changed in the patterns and explained why I did. So looking at my creative pattern, you'll see that I have removed the presses from the input and the output. The reason being is it was working, but every once in a while it would the system would see that, or the system would think rather, that it didn't have the press it needed. So it would just stop. It would stop creating even though the presses were in the ME system, the presses were in the inscribers. But yeah, it would just think that they weren't there and it would stop. So I've just removed that altogether. I have locked the presses into each individual inscriber. And yeah, this is my solution. So now that I have nothing in the input and output except for the pure Certus quartz and the printed calculation circuit, everything is working fine. And yeah, I don't have to worry about that. But now let's get on to making processors. So in order to make processors, just do the same thing. You put in whatever pieces you need. Here we go. And whatever the output is going to be. So I just put in this 32 calculation processors as the output, and I already mentioned that the system is very literal. So if I'm telling this pattern that one printed calculation circuit, redstone, and printed silicon will make me 32 calculation processors, the pattern will take that as gospel, and that it will think that that is exactly what that recipe is. So you have to be careful and make sure that you only supply the output with what is actually there. And there we go. Now I have my pattern. Another thing to take note of is the fact that it doesn't have to be in any specific order. I can put my printed silicon right here, I can put my redstone here, and I can put my silicon here. And so long as I am making one calculation processor, this pattern will absolutely work in the system. And just to prove that, I'm going to put this pattern in the system and show it working. The order that you put the here we go. The order that you put the materials in does not matter so long as it knows exactly what materials it needs in order to work. So I'm going to make those calculation processors. What the heck? We're going to make 10 of them. Is missing... Oh, whoops. I should probably put this recipe back. Here we go. Alright, my encoded pattern is back in there, and now we can try the recipe again. Calculation processor... 10 of them, next. And yep, it's going to craft up my 10 calculation circuits. Let's get this ball rolling. Looking at the crafting status, it is indeed making my printed calculation circuits. And it is crafting my calculation processors. So yeah, the order of the materials inside that grid do not matter, so long as you have the exact materials you need in the pattern. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to call this an episode because, yeah, the lag is real. The response lag, rather. I can't... Sometimes whenever I do stuff, I have to wait like a full 3 seconds before it actually responds. I can't break any blocks. I need to figure out what the problem is. And the problem is definitely the Emmy drives. I need to fix the Emmy drives. So yeah, this series is on hold, which is a dang shame because I really enjoyed this mod pack. It's very large and takes a while to load, but there's so much to do, and I'm enjoying it. So I need to find another mod pack to do. I did mention earlier that I'm going to start streaming sometime in September. That will be Project Ozone 3 Kappa mode to start with. So I don't want to start a YouTube series for Kappa mode. Need to find something else. And since I pretty much predominantly do sky blocks here, need to find another sky block. Probably Sky of Diamonds, actually. Yeah, Sky of Diamonds is a troll pack. We could probably do that. But yeah, with that, I'm Kelly Engineering, and I hope that you did enjoy this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.